Hello friends, Lee here from TableTop Bong. Thanks for joining me. In this video, I thought we could hang out, have a fun sesh, and we can talk about what to do with that friend that leverages the fact that they care about you to get you to do things. Yeah, that person can be a bit annoying, can't they? So let's talk about what happens when you have that person in your life, and where's this starting to come from? This is a pattern that I'm seeing more and more throughout society, throughout different relationships. It's becoming more and more prevalent. So that's why I thought, yeah, we should probably talk about this one, because having strategies for people like this, it's a really important thing, I think, so that we don't end up getting caught up in something that actually doesn't belong to us at all. Because that's what happens, I think, a good lot of the time, right? If we don't really know how to react to somebody, or we don't know what's going on with a behavior, we may internalize that and blame ourselves for doing something wrong, when in reality, somebody's leveraging the relationship in a way that doesn't make sense. So let's talk about first, where's this coming from? Why are we seeing this happening more and more? And what does that mean? When I'm saying, leveraging the fact that they care about you. So what does that look like? When somebody wants you to do something and they're like, I'm worried about you. So I just really need you to do this with me so I can not be so worried about you. Okay, that's where they're leveraging the fact that they care about you to get you to do something to inspire some kind of action of some kind. Speaking of action, it's probably time to rip a bowl, wouldn't you think? I'm going to rip today using a natural cherry TableTop Orb, 500 ml size with a heady glass 4-hole stem in it. I'm ripping using a wireless. I can't remember the name of this one. It's from Fat Piggy though. I don't even think it's available anymore, but it's just a fun wireless ball vape. So I'm going to rip with that, and I am... what am I ripping today? I am ripping some Awakened Durban Poison. This is fog-free weed. So what that means is I can rip this on a higher temperature and not have to worry too much about sedation. So I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of the fact that I can cloud this up a little bit. Let's get into it. Cheers. Really, really nice, really flavorful. Can't go wrong with Awakened Durban Poison, that's for sure. It's a really nice, nice buzz. All right, so let's get into it. So another one that people use often when they're leveraging care is they'll say things like, I thought we were really close. I thought we were closer than this. I thought we were good friends, right? And they're kind of pulling on this emotional aspect of connection that you maybe don't even feel, but they leverage it anyway, because who wants to say, I don't really feel like that about you? Not very many people want to look at another person and say, I don't like you that much. I think you think I like you more than I do. I don't know that that's, the number one thing that people want to throw out, right? It's a bit awkward. So what does that mean? That means somebody who's willing to leverage the relationship in some way, right? To get something out of you. They're going to take that opening. So we have to notice what's going on with this. But here's the thing that I think is really, really important to remember. When somebody is leveraging emotionally like this, it is manipulation. There's just no way around it. It is straight up manipulation. It's okay for somebody to feel hurt, and it's okay for somebody to express that with you, right? To sit you down and say, hey, listen, I thought you cared about me and this, right? Okay, that's okay. Right up until the point it becomes weaponized. It's perfect. One thing is open communication. The other thing is leverage, right? So if it's, I thought you really cared about me, I want to clear this feeling up and have that conversation, that's beautiful. But if it's, I thought you really cared about me, so I need you to do this for me, Oh, no. That's leverage, right? And that's manipulation. So it's really important that we kind of learn how to differentiate these things. So where's this coming from? Well, here's my take on it anyway. I think there's a lot of messages throughout social media and, basically throughout society now that are all about self-empowerment, right? I know my worth, it's all about me and my feelings and all of this. And you know what? That's great. We all deserve to feel like we're important. And it's great that we all feel special. There's no question about that, because we all, have unique things about us that are special. But the way the messages seem to be getting delivered right now is only one-sided. And this is where it becomes a bit of a challenge. And this is where I think we're starting to break into this new pattern of leveraged care versus genuine care. So when you see, for instance, everything is about knowing your own worth. That's cool. But what happens if you're not told to know someone else's worth too? Or to value someone else's worth as maybe not the same way you value your own? Don't put them ahead of you, but take them into consideration as well. You can't stop at only, just this one perspective of things. But we're told right now in the messaging through all kinds of fog, I guess, really, right? Like, we're told that we only look inward, we only look at ourselves, and we deserve. And it's all true. But, it's just half the message. And that's where I think we're getting stuck. And I think a lot of people are getting hung up there. And we're in this transition phase between, the past where it was always worrying about what others thought to now only worrying about what you think about yourself. We have to be careful in these overcorrection times not to end up, assigning things to ourselves that maybe don't belong. And when people leverage relationships, you can't assign that to yourself. We have to be aware of what it is, and I think it's happening more and more, right? Cheers. So I've developed a little formula for dealing with this, and it works. It's highly effective. Because I think most people need an opportunity to reflect on what's happening. That's really the only time when people seem to make a major change about anything, is when they have an opportunity to reflect on what's going on in the situation. So if somebody leverages care with you and you go forward and you try to tell them, hey, you're leveraging care here. Most people have a hard time hearing that, especially if there's somebody who, is unconsciously or consciously potentially, leveraging this care perspective to get something from you. The minute you go forward with that, it's kind of a shutdown, and you're going to end up in a position that isn't really what you want. Because what you want, I'm sure, is an open, fair conversation, and what they want is to leverage the relationship. So instead of going at it in the direct, going right back at it formula, what I have a tendency to do, and it seems to work extremely well, is I just ignore their tactics altogether. I just give it zero play. I just don't bite no matter what is said. Just don't bite. So what does that mean? So somebody says, I thought you cared about me, and if you did, you would do this. Well, that I wouldn't even respond to. Like, literally would just not even respond. Because there is nothing to respond to that. That's a statement that is baiting you, right? Like, if you really think about it, it's a statement. It's baiting you to respond. Why would you bother? Just don't. And what happens if you don't respond? This is where most people get confused, because most people will now go into their own feelings about how they're going to feel about not responding. Right? And that's not where to get focused first. Okay? You can get focused on that if you need to, but hear this piece out first, okay? What happens when you focus it like this is a mirror? You're just going to hold up a mirror for the person who's leveraging this caring relationship for something. If you just hold up a mirror and let their request fall into dead silence, then they have to look forward and they see it didn't go anywhere. So what are they looking at? They're looking at a mirror of their own action only. They're not looking at your action. Your action was no action. So there's nothing to look at. They can assume a bunch of things about why you didn't act. But eventually, if you just stay in that position, they just keep looking in the mirror. And one of two things ends up happening when you put the mirror like this in front of somebody. And it's a pretty interesting thing, because these kinds of things can at times become defining moments. I suppose that's what I was trying to come up with there. Man, this whole setup is working really good. So it probably means I should have one more, right? And we'll kind of conclude this here. So what ends up happening, I'm not going to pick that up. I already dropped that once in this video, and I'm not picking it up this time until after the video. Cheers. Delicious. So when you hold the mirror up like this, when you just don't respond to people who are leveraging care, and you just let it fall silent, there's typically only two responses to this. And it is either the person who was leveraging care will recognize what happened, and they'll come into alignment, and they'll, approach you differently because they took the lesson from sitting and looking in the mirror. Or the other thing that will happen is they'll just simply go away. So think about that for a minute. If you have somebody in your life that is willing to leverage the fact that they care for you to get you to do things for them, and by asking them to stop with silence, they decide to leave your life, probably better off without that, aren't you? Right? And this is the whole thing. This is what ends up happening, is you cut right through to somebody either coming correct or fading away. And either way, it's great. Either way, because you're better off to do this with this person and to go through this uncomfortable situation once or twice, right? They may, at times, sit and look in that mirror and be like, oh no, I have to come correct, and then they go back to their old patterns again, and then you just put them right back in front of the same spot. Just go into, no, I'm not responding to that mode. Until you're respectful of me, I won't respond to it. It's pretty simple, isn't it? Right? Like, if you think about it. But the thing that I believe most people will stick to is the fact that it's very uncomfortable for the person who has to take the stand and go, no, I'm just not going to respond to this because you need to look at what's happening. Well, you know what? Do it once or twice, and all of a sudden it's not uncomfortable at all anymore, actually. You get used to doing it, and you get used to the outcome. Because the more time you spend moving forward in situations where you're either in a case of alignment or things that, are not able to align, they just fade away, right? And that's your best case scenario. Either way is those two things. Anything in the middle is just static or distortion. And who needs that? That just bogs you down and it slows down whatever you're doing in your life. So this is really a great way to cut through and find out who actually cares. If it gets manipulated, this is the way to find out in a hurry. So I just thought I would jump on and talk that one out, right? Because I think more and more people are becoming the person who is unconsciously manipulating care to get something. I think words are getting used way too easily without considering the consequence of how that lands on somebody else, because, all the self-centric messaging that's out there. So this is really a helpful tool, not just for you, the person who has to work through it, but also for the person who is leveraging care, right? You're really doing something to help them understand something fundamental and important about how to move forward to get the best experience for themselves as well, right? Like, that's a pretty selfless act when you really break it down. So sitting in that discomfort, it gets you exactly what you need, and it helps them in the end. So if you can manage to do that, I'm going to say, way to go. Way to go, because you're going to break a pattern and you're going to develop a level of confidence for yourself that you didn't even know existed. All right, my friends. So I just thought I would hang out, have a couple of bowls, and we would talk that one out. All right. Thanks very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this and got something out of it. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button. Until next time, take care.